Hi everyone, this is JD with Wildwood Wedding Films. I just wanted to go over some things people have been asking me on wedding videography forums about running a business and operating it and marketing your business. So this is not a film, in case you found my wedding videos, that is for couples that are looking for a videographer. However, maybe you'll want to become a wedding videographer after this video. So here it is. I want to just go over some basic things because I have gotten some inquiries about getting inquiries. How do you find couples? How do you get in front of them? How do you turn them into customers and people that are going to want to have you come film their wedding? And most importantly, potentially make a living doing that. Now, I want to say from the get-go, this, and in case I make this into a more formal series, I'm going to have that in this as well, is that this is a 7-day-a-week job. As far as customer service, as far as getting back to couples that are interested in your work, you're going to need to be really, really customer oriented. So that's going to mean if you get a lead on Sunday night at 9 p.m., you should probably answer it at Sunday at 9:01 p.m. And keep in mind, ask yourself, do I want to put all this work into a job where I might have to give up my weekends in the summer? So know that I love it. I love making films. I love photography. I like making people happy because when they see your films, whether you think it's the best film you've ever done or one that you're like, I like some of it, I could have changed a few things here. Generally, your couples really love your work. If you're somewhat talented, they're going to love it. And then as you get better and better and better, you're going to really start noticing things that you really like. Okay. Now, with all that being said, let's cut to the chase. Marketing for photography and videography. How do you get in front of potential customers? And I like to think of this as two, sort of splitting things into two. We can get in front of people in a physical way, and then we can get in front of people in a virtual way. In the year 2022, most of the ways you're going to be getting in front of people are going to be in a virtual way. That's not to say that, and I'll make myself a little bigger here, that's not to say that you can't succeed in getting in front of people in a physical way, but it's just more difficult. It's going to mean going to things like wedding shows, which maybe I'll talk about in a different video. They're potentially becoming less popular now. It's going to be involving networking. And so physical networking, actually going out and talking to couples and wedding vendors, etc. So if we think about things in a physical world, I focus a little bit on that, particularly in the networking side. But virtual is where most couples are going to encounter you. They're going to see you on your website, and then we'll talk more about that in a second. But the very first thing I want to say in this video about transforming your hobby into a sustainable business and generating leads for your photography business, your videography business, is you're going to need to read 2 books. And here they are. Book number 1 is called All Marketers Tell Stories by Seth Godin. It'll cost you $13 for Kindle. You need to read that. Do not pass go until you read that. And then book number 2 is called Story Brand by Donald Miller. It's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. It's $14 for the paperback. You have to read this. It's a really, really fantastic book. And pretty much everyone you know who's succeeded in marketing is probably already aware of this book. So you have to read those 2 books. That's going to be my first step as we get into this sort of evolving course in trying to help other videographers and photographers build their business. So read those 2 books, and you're going to learn a lot about marketing. And I think it's important to remember that sometimes you think that as a photographer or a videographer, that you are selling your equipment, right? You're selling that you have this DJI gimbal and you have this cool drone and you have the Sony FX3, or maybe you even have a red Komodo and you've got these lenses. Couples don't care. They've seen your films when you get to them. And so you're going to present your work. Is it good? And then you're going to present yourself and your customer service. But you're not selling the gear. I think that's the most common mistake people make, is they think gear is really important. Gear is only important in that it allows you to do your job and film a lot of weddings. So, right? So you could actually have pretty average gear if you're only filming a few weddings a year, because it's probably not going to break. But if you do a lot of weddings, you're going to break things. You need to have redundancy and all of that. So with that being said, gear doesn't matter except for your logistics, like making it easier for you to do your job, easier for you to save time. This book and the other book, that's going to tell you almost everything you need to know about marketing. Because you need to know marketing, you need to know sales, and you need to know how to run a business. I always tell people there's a lot of really talented photographers out there who have regular day jobs and don't even do photography anymore as a job, because it's a really hard way to make money. It's a really hard way to make money in wedding videography. It's really hard money to make money in videography in general. So you have to remember, being a good photographer and a good videographer is not enough. And having the gear is not enough. It doesn't mean anything. Okay, now let's go back to step 1. And I want to tell you a little bit about when I mentioned the 2 opposite ways people are going to encounter you. Number 1 is physical. Number 2 is virtual. When we're dealing with the virtual aspect, what we're really dealing with is they're probably encountering your website. So we could break things down again further, right? So when we think of the virtual world, they're either going to encounter your website, they're going to encounter your social media, or they're going to encounter your work on a portfolio site like The Knot, Wedding Wire, Little Green Shoes, Wedding Chicks. There's a bunch of them. But if you Google here, and this is an important thing, you have to do research. A lot of videographers I know have not done very basic research, and you have to constantly do this. Wedding videographers near me. Enter. Okay. Now let's look here. Oh, what do you know? It's me. I'm number 1. But that's an ad. So you should know we have 1, 2, 3 ads. 3 ads are the first things they're going to see on Google. Then they have a map. And the map, it can also be ad-based, but it's also based a lot on reviews and Google traction. And so we have, first one is an ad. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ads in a row. Then we have me on the map. Then we have Candy Glass on the map, By Design on the map. Okay, it's going to be tough for you to get into any of those spots if you're just starting out, because you don't have a lot of reviews. And Google prioritizes its own content, particularly Google My Business. So that's hard. I'll say right from the get-go. Then let's look here again. Then we have The Knot. For some reason, there's an undercurrent of people that don't like The Knot on a lot of forums. I personally have had success with The Knot. I might do a course or something on how to succeed at The Knot. not going to be any guarantees because all of these things are really hard and there's no guarantee of success at all. Because I'm also thinking about doing a course on, up here, you see my ad on Google Ads. There's definitely no guarantee of success with Google Ads. When I started Google Ads, I was basically just lighting money on fire. I was not very good at it. And I think I'm still kind of mediocre at Facebook ads. In my opinion, it has a lot to do with the platform, but I'll acknowledge maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not very good at them. But I have not had a lot of success with Facebook ads. Okay, so we got the knot, wedding wire, and then Thumbtack. Okay, Thumbtack is a place where you find less expensive videography. I'm on there. I've advertised a few services. Then you got Yelp. Then you got Fash. This is a site I don't even think I've ever heard of. And then you have the first organic result. That's how far we had to scroll for an organic result. And then the next one is not organic. Again, I mean, it's organic, but it's also one of those portfolio sites. Eventective is a portfolio site. Fash, I'm assuming, is a portfolio site that I've never heard of. So on my first page, there's one company organic website. This one. Good job to you at Lisi Films, because SEO is really, really hard. That's something I might do in a separate course as well. But the key here is, how are people going to encounter you? Right? So we said physical or virtual. And we know that a lot of people, if they don't know someone, hey, do you know a wedding videographer? Or hey, who filmed your wedding? If they don't know someone, they're probably going to Google. Maybe that'll change, and maybe it'll be ChatGPT or something else in the future. But generally, they're going to go to some search engine. Right now, that search engine is Google, and they're going to type wedding videographers, Portland, Oregon, wedding videographers near me. And so you have two options. And in my opinion, you should do both. But I want to acknowledge it's really, really hard for the first option, which is organic. Organic search engine optimization, that's what SEO is really, really hard. And it's a long process. And basically, you have to be the answer to the question people are asking. And they're not necessarily asking wedding videographers near me. They're asking questions about Pacific Northwest wedding trends, boho decor for a wedding, florals for a Pacific Northwest wedding. So the more of these potential answers you can provide, the better. Basically, you get what's called domain authority. Ahrefs, the site that tracks this, will give you more information on this. And let me just give you a little link here, ahrefs.com. And then I think they have a free tool, but you can sign up. And then there's also semrush.com. And basically type your website in here and get yourself a score. If you're watching this video, it probably stinks. It's okay. You got to start somewhere. But your website probably suffers from a lot of problems. Let's just type the knot.com. Oh, so I'm going to sign in. I'm going to sign in right now. But that's what you're going to do. Get your score so you can see what's good, what's bad. So having content, answers to questions that are relevant to your domain, which in my case is wedding videography, a little bit of wedding photography, a little bit of Indian weddings, which is something I'm specifically trying to do. And then from there, you get into SEM. And actually, before I talk about SEM, in addition to having great content on your website, like lots of answers, and by the way, you can see, you want to know why, let's look here. Again, the first organic result, organic is a fancy way of saying they're not paying for the spot, is the knot. Do you want to know why the knot is number one? In addition to a lot of people knowing The knot has lots of resources. It has planning tools. It has registry. It has invitations. It has inspirations. It has blog articles about weddings that people have done. So they have a lot of wedding content that presumably brides and maybe occasional grooms want to see. And then from there, I want to show you SEM. So SEM is the opposite of organic. So people use the term for search engine marketing. I usually use the term paid marketing. And so Google Ads, which you can find at ads.google.com, is how you get right here. You got to pay. And I'll do a separate video on this, but it depends on your market. Unless you're a destination wedding videographer and you like to just fly all over the place, which I don't. I only want to fly to one place, San Diego, for my business. This is a short plane ride, one trip. So for me, no destinations. For you, maybe you do destination weddings, in which case maybe you want to advertise all over the United States. I would recommend against that. When you're doing Google Ads, you want to be really tailored, and I'll get more into that later. But essentially, you have to pay for this spot at the top. It generally ranges anywhere from, and you pay per click. So if someone clicks this, I pay. And so please don't search for me and then click on it. I don't want to pay for you to click on it. And that's why when I search for things now, I don't click on the ads. I just find it organically. If I see the first one, then I'll find it organically. So they won't have to pay because I'm a nice guy. But the ad itself usually ranges from $2 to $20 a click. I don't think any of my searches are $20 a click, but it's a bidding system. So the more people are in here in your particular market, so I'm only bidding for Portland, Seattle, Bend, and San Diego. But if you were to bid for New York City in something that's, I don't know, potentially really lucrative, like New York City real estate, the click might cost a lot. And that's what people call a CAC, or customer acquisition cost, CAC. If your CAC is too high, you're not going to make money. And then the next thing, and I've already talked too much, I need to make some more separate videos, maybe even design a course, is that when they go to your website, many of them are going to cost you $5. They clicked on your site, you paid $5 to Google, and then they bounce 30 seconds later. So if you get people to your website and it's not great, and you don't show them your work immediately, and you got a lot of text that no one's ever going to read, and you're not getting right to the point, which is why you need to read story brand, and this is marketing, and don't talk about your gear. No one cares. If you don't get right to the point and you don't get their information, because like them just viewing your website is okay. Like there's a lot of great people out there. They need to talk to you. More importantly, they need to see you, that you're a real person, that you do good customer service, that people like you. And you shouldn't have to lie. Hopefully you are actually a likable person. But the bottom line is, if you pay for a Google ad, you're going to get clicks. I guarantee you will get people to your website. Then getting them to convert is a whole nother thing. So you need to, in my opinion, go look. So do your search. Wedding videographers near me. Go find the organic companies. Click on this one. I'd click on this one. I'd click on, and say, by the way, there's 3 in like the top 20. So almost none of these are organic company sites. They're generally, even the organic ones like the Bash, Bark, Gig Salad, those are all portfolio sites. And company like Bark, you're paying, someone clicks on your portfolio to contact you, you have to pay Bark. So that's a whole other thing. That's the way Thumbtack works as well. So click on all the top organic ones and then look at their content. Like, what is it they have on their website? Are they blogging a lot about weddings? So maybe brides are coming to the website and they're like, oh, I really like that wedding. The way they did those flowers, the way they did the tables. Let me see more of that. And then maybe they have information on planning weddings. Maybe they have other interesting information on anything related to your subject. Then, do other people respect them? That's what we call backlinks. And so there used to be a way to gain backlinks, and Google just updated their algorithm again, and they're constantly updating it. But their number one goal is, if you are paying for some junky backlink from some random site, I don't know, in wherever, in Eastern Europe, in South America, that has nothing to do with wedding videography and nothing to do with weddings in general, Google is trying to stop that. So don't waste too much time on trying to find random links. What you want are people in authority. Like, if the Knot links to you, that's good, because Google knows the Knot, that's a really good site that people take seriously for weddings. So if they link to you, that means something. Okay, so there's that. And what you should do now is you should post your questions down below, and I'll make another video answering them. And we'll build from here. And maybe people will find this useful. You should like and subscribe to my channel. I'm probably going to post more content. And I've been planning this for a while, and I had this fancy setup planned and neon lights behind me and setting up my tripod, but I'm really, really busy. I filmed 42 weddings last year. My company did just about 60, and I had 3 kids. And so I just hooked up my webcam, and I have my Blue Yeti microphone. So it's not as good as it could be. It definitely doesn't look cinematic, but hopefully the content was helpful. And then finally, after you've read All Marketers Tell Stories, after you've read StoryBrand, also check out his website, Business Made Simple. He's got a lot of good content on there, because you need to know, like I said, marketing, sales, and then finally, and this is, I know you're going to hate this, you need to know business, accounting. And then an easy read, which is going to ask you how much you want it, right? So, which is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. Because you might not know this, Nike basically nearly went extinct many, many times. It's a great book about how hard businesses are to build, from nervous breakdowns to fights to whatever. It's a great book. You should read it because it's very eye-opening into everything he had to go through. And at the end of the book, he says, despite all this, my only regret is I can't do it again. Can't build this business again. And then one last thing I want to show you here. I'm going to show you my website. You should also go there. Give me the free little click. So Google says, oh, this is good. Okay, it needs to be, and I'm actually redoing it right now. I have another design. I might switch from this vertical video that I have here streaming in the background. This is Squarespace, by the way. I might switch from vertical to horizontal. Initially, I thought it would display really nicely on a phone. It's okay. I don't think it's any better than a horizontal video. You know, you can have 2 things in the same frame, but otherwise, that's it. And then my 2 key taglines, again, and this is something I actually believe, because I know people with like tons of incredible gear who, let me just say it in the nicest way possible, they don't make use of it well. Our films allow you to relive your wedding day forever. True. I actually believe that. And I think that's why brides are willing to pay us. Have the best day of your life and then share it with your grandchildren decades later. I also believe that. And then scroll down a little bit. We serve these areas. We want your dream vision to come to life. Playing is just as important as filming. True. It's more important than filming. So we take the time to build a relationship with our couples and learn about their love story. Also true, and also really, really important. Then I have 1, 2, 3 films. I don't have 15 films. I don't have 40 films. I have another page that I might even delete that has a lot of them, but I filmed 42 last year. I mean, I'm going to blog them, but on my main page, I don't need to overwhelm people with like 15 films. And you're going to see me. I'm a real person. I have a family. I live in Beaverton, Oregon. And by the way, it says 41. I filmed 42 weddings last year. And that's not including multi-day Indian weddings. And that's not including 9 or 10 corporate projects as well. Then we got a form. I use HoneyBook. You should use HoneyBook too. Maybe you'll get one of those codes and put it in the thing below. It's probably not going to be there, but you should get HoneyBook. I really like it. There's also a few other platforms that people like. I'm sure they're fine. But the bottom line is you got to have a way for them to reach out right here. And you got to get the relevant information because people are not going to book you. I mean, maybe occasionally they will book you via text message, via an email, but you want to get the information and you want to have a video call. Bottom line. So if they got an Apple phone, a FaceTime, if they have a Google phone, a Google Meet or Zoom, but they're giving you a lot of money and a lot of, it's a privilege and it's a responsibility, and you gotta prove to them that you take this seriously. So you got to get on a video call. So they're going to go to your website. It's going to get to the point really quickly. This he has a beautiful portfolio, or this woman has a beautiful portfolio. They have a beautiful portfolio. And then boom, boom, boom. Here's the form. Get in contact. And then they contact you. 5 minutes later, you send them a text. Just a few pieces of information. Don't overwhelm them. Don't bombard them. Maybe because you have a spot for venue. Maybe you have a film for that venue you can share with them in the text. But otherwise, we're not sending a lot of text messages back and forth. Who wants to do that? The next step is, hey, let's schedule a video call. What's a good time? That's what you got to do. Okay. I've already talked a lot, so like and subscribe. Hopefully you found this useful. Again, sorry that this webcam setup is not perfect, but hopefully you found this useful. And maybe if you're a wedding couple that somehow you stumbled on this video and you made it the whole way through, maybe it'll make you believe even more that we love doing this and you should book us for your wedding. Like and subscribe down below. Have a great day.